Buck O'Neill. You know, it's very ironic that 9 years ago, I presented Buck O'Neill with an award, a Baseball America award, bearing my name, and he was the recipient. And it was such a great honor for me to meet this gentleman. His graciousness, his smile, his genuine love for people in our game, and the greatest ambassador of our game then and would be perpetuated with his legacy. Margot loved him also. And there I am today getting his award. And when Jerry Reinsdorf arranged for me to be in an office in our new spring training camp, the Salt River Fields in Phoenix for the Diamondbacks, I didn't know what he had in mind. And he arrived on time. He said he needed to see me at 10 o'clock. And Ken Kendrick, our general partner of the Diamondbacks, and Derek Hall, president and CEO, were there. And I was still uncertain of what was going to transpire. The phone rang, and it was Jane Forbes Clark. And Jerry handed me the phone. And when she told me that I was receiving the Buck O'Neill 2011 Lifetime Achievement Award, for one of the few times in my life, I was speechless. I just couldn't talk. I handed the phone to Derek Hall. He handed it to Jerry Reinsdorf, and I managed to say, I need to talk to Margot, but I couldn't talk to her either. I was in such emotion state. And when Jerry gave her the news, she was thrilled as well because she had such respect for Buck O'Neill. I often say I'm the luckiest guy in baseball. You know, there's no way, as I look back to my youth, that it would lead for me to become a general manager of a major league club. But on leave in the Coast Guard during my last spring of 4 years of service, I decided I'd go see spring training camps. I had saved some leaves, and I ran into a gentleman by the name of Sergeant Leo C. McMahon. He had been wounded in First World War in France and had become blind. And he would travel with his wife to minor league ballparks, sing the national anthem, wear his Army uniform, and he was called the Lucky Sergeant, and he would root for the home team. And he told me that there was a gentleman in Hartford, Connecticut, who ran the Hartford Chiefs of the Eastern League, a minor league club of the Boston Braves, and I should meet him, that maybe there'd be a chance for me to get into baseball. He had me type my own letter of introduction. I went up to meet Mr. Blasfield, and on the day that I was there, Margot's grandfather, James Aloysius Bob Quinn, who had been in baseball between the 1880s on and eventually became the first president and curator of the National Baseball Hall of Fame. And she was 11 years old. I remember her mother telling her and her younger sister, don't run. There were some cracks in the cement. And little did I realize that someday she'd be my wife. Quite an opportunist, right? Anyway, it led, after Charlie Blasfield said he couldn't afford me at the end of the season on Labor Day, but he wanted me back the next year, the next spring. Well, it wasn't an enormous salary, believe me. However, 10 days later, he called me and said that there was an opening in the farm office of the Boston Braves and that he had recommended me to the farm and scouting director, John Mullen, at least to get an interview. Now, with just a high school education, I wouldn't be getting that interview today. But anyway, I went to see John, and he said, can you type? I said, well, I learned to type in the Coast Guard, fortunately. He says, I'll give you a 2-week tryout. Well, here I am, still here. So John was a great mentor, as well as John Quinn. I learned a lot from them, and the club then, moved to Milwaukee in '53, and I was happy to go wherever they went, and we had some tremendous years in Milwaukee. And when I see Red Shane, I always remind him that if John Quinn had not traded for you at trading deadline, we would not have been playing in the World Series and beat the New York Yankees in 7 games. So thank you, Red. I would like to introduce a lot of people that have helped me in the game, but it's impossible with the allotted time. But I'll have you join. Your name may be on there, some of you. He's going to take charge. However, with great pride today, I want to introduce 5 of, I guess I can call my protégés, who have gone on to be great baseball men. David Dombrowski, President, CEO, General Manager of the Detroit Tigers. Will you stand, Dave? Wherever you are. Thanks for being here. Doug Melvin, General Manager of the Milwaukee Brewers, a great general manager. Walt Jocketty, General Manager now of the Cincinnati Reds and formerly of the St. Louis Cardinals. Tim Papura, who was General Manager of the Houston Astros in 2005 when the Chicago White Sox, and I happened to be with them, played in the World Series. And now he's COO of minor league baseball. And Bill Smith, Jr., whose father was a shipmate of mine in the Coast Guard, the Androscoggin. His father was a great sailor, and I never learned to swim. When I was in the Coast Guard for 4 years, I figured I didn't belong there. I wear a life jacket in our swimming pool. But anyway, Bill Smith, Sr. was a great sailor, and he became a captain in the Coast Guard. And Bill Smith, Jr., General Manager of the Twins, Minnesota Twins. So that's very rewarding, as you can tell. And from my heart, I see other fine prospects, not only players, managers, coaches, but to be associated with so many great baseball people who have helped me through the years. It's incredible. And today, I believe Al Monchak has arrived on the scene with his daughter. And Al is one of the greatest instructors of defensive play that I've ever encountered. He made non-prospects become major league players, and he made players in the big leagues, changing positions and what have you, become winning players. So Al, wherever you are, I hope you're in the stands, but I want to see you later today. I have to add, my sister, Cecile, better known as Sis, she was my champion and my best fan. She always said to my kid brother, look, he's doing okay in baseball. And she would brag about me time and time again. Her 2 daughters, I believe, have arrived in time with their families today, and that means so much to me. I love you both, Karen and Joyce. I'll close then. I have one more story, and this one may be the toughest. Hey, I get a better hand for closing. Frank used to get me off the stage in Baltimore. Come on, Roland. And then the White Sox guys had a sign like this. Whenever I talked enough, that meant cool it. Well, I'm going to cool it and try to cool it. But my mother spoke mainly French, and she used to go to rummage sales, and I was the best-dressed kid in town because she would buy men's suits, good material, and cut them down for me. And, boy, I used to be prancing pretty good, get a lot of compliments about my attire. But one day, she came back with a baseball glove. She had bought a glove at a rummage sale, probably for $1 or $2, and she was happy to give it to me because she knew how much engrossed I was. I'm a big Red Sox fan, Jimmy Fox in '38, and Ted Williams came aboard, and Bobby Doerr, and I was, one of those die-hard Red Sox fans. But at this, I was only about 11, but I was already warmed up into this game that I loved it. And she said to me, and she spoke mainly French, Roland, qu'est-ce qui va devenir avec cela? That means, Roland, what will this lead to? I said, Ma, je ne sais pas. I do not know, but I sure love baseball. So I would pound that glove, and it would remain stiff. The fingers weren't very long. I'd put oil in it at night. I'd wrap it up in a rope and tie it as hard as I could, and I'd try again the next day. And she kept watching me pounding the glove, and I think she felt, I don't know what this is going to lead to for sure, and certainly I did not. But Ma, the Buck O'Neill Award.
National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museums 2011 award winners.